What's up, Steno babes? It's your boy, Jack.
And your girl, Des.
We are two court reporters
With one podcast.
ready to tell you all of our stories.
We're taking you through the court reporting profession through our eyes.
So get ready because we're about to go on the record.
Do you solemnly state that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
Then let's go.
This is the Steno Pod. What's up, Steno fam? We are back for another episode of the Steno Pod. I'm joined by my co-host, Desiree. How are you doing, Des?
I'm good. How are you, Jack?
So good. Another week,
Another week. Can you believe we're already on episode 4?
Episode 4. I know, we're almost halfway through season 1. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh, it's going by so fast.
I love it. We're having so much fun, and we're so excited because on today's episode, we are joined by a very, very special guest. Her name is Christine Taylor, and she has quite the resume, and we're going to find out all about that in just a moment.
Yes.
But
I'm so excited. Welcome, Christine. Welcome to the Steno Pod.
Thank you. Hi, Desiree. Hi, Jack. Thanks for having me.
yes,
Christine, I don't know if you remember how you and I met. This was when the A to Z program that NCRA had just puts out every I think twice a year, maybe 3 times a year for students or anybody who's interested in court reporting. They can do a free 6-week course. So this was when NCRA had just put this out, and my friend Lauren and I went to go speak at Downey Adult School.
Yeah.
And you were there, and you were like, hi, and you're like, you do freelance? I was like, I do, I love it. You're like, you got to come to court though. And
Yeah,
you're like, you have to come to court. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. And you're like, do you have any kids? I was like, I have a 3-month-old. My baby at the time was only 3 months. And you're like, okay, even more reason to come to court. And I was like, oh, I remember.
Yeah.
But Christine, if you can introduce yourself, maybe tell us how long you're reporting, when you got your license, kind of your background, your curriculum vitae, you don't mind.
Okay, I'm Christine Taylor, and I work currently in the LA Superior Court. I went to court reporting school when we were brick and mortar. I read off of steno paper and typed on a typewriter to do my things from 1981 to 83. I took my exams in November of 83, which was kind of fun. They did them in May and November back then. And we'd be about 500 people for the weekend in a hotel and do the whole, academics day 1 and the machine and transcription portion day 2. And
wow.
I knew,
Yeah, that's a thing.
I knew for sure I had passed when I did. But we didn't get our results
Confidence.
for 2 months because they had to all be hand corrected. So I didn't get my license until the first week in January of 1984, when I went to work in a depot firm, and I stayed with that depot firm doing all sorts of stuff all over LA. I liked working in LA, although I lived in Orange County at the time. And I was there through 1997. And then I went to court in 1998. And I have been at LA Superior Court. I work downtown in the criminal courts building. I've been there ever since. And I had no idea there was such a thing as criminal court. When I came, they sent some of us to criminal, kept some of us in civil. And I'm really happy they sent me to, because I really do. I like it a lot. And some of the cases I hear, I'm in felonies, long cause felonies. So it's murders and rapes and molestations, embezzlement, felonies like that. So, yeah.
Wow. And one thing I wanted to ask you, you kind of mentioned this. Back then you would do the CSR. You did it all in one weekend, because now you do it, you're able to schedule it and kind of spread it out a little bit. You did it all in one, kind of like one sitting, right?
We didn't have cell phones then. We had car phones, and we didn't have computers, and we didn't have software, and we learned how to read our notes. And I had some real sophisticated steno theory because we got taught long and short vowels. So that was pretty cool.
Wait,
Wow.
so you guys were still typing everything,
Yes.
right? You guys didn't have there was no software, nothing.
We had really state-of-the-art typewriters. They were IBM Selectrics.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
Yeah. So,
Well, it's funny because
Wow.
we talked about I think it was episode 1, that when I took the CSR, I did not take it with software, and I didn't know what software was all through school. So, and I only was in school like little over 5 years ago. So I didn't know any of that. I would print out my steno notes, and Des and I learned on the machine where you put the ink on the ribbon and it's going on your steno notes, and you go outline by outline and you type it in. And when I said that, I couldn't believe the amount of people that had no idea that was a thing. They were like, you didn't start court reporting school with software? How did you even get through I'm like, wait, I thought everyone didn't do this. Like, I thought it was like at the last second, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you have to buy software and go out and work now.
Yeah.
But
$4,000 software.
yeah, it's crazy. But there's something I appreciate, I think, about the rawness of how we learned. And I mean, I would die if I had to do that now, you know, but and work like that.
Do you remember the ink though? It was indelible ink,
Yes.
and you don't get it
got
on
all over
anything
your
because it's
hands?
not coming out again.
Nope, it got all over my clothes,
everywhere,
everything.
You had to
And
be
if you
very
ran out of
careful.
ink, and if you ran out of ink at school and you just forgot to refill it or whatever it was, you were done. There was no way you could do any tests. Oh my God.
You could loan ink and stuff when we were at school.
Oh, there you go. The loan.
Yeah.
That's
Give
right.
some
That's
that,
right.
Yeah, that kind of thing. As long as, you know,
That's
you
right.
did it beforehand. So sure, I need some paper. We always carried extra. You help. You know, that's what I like so much about where I work in criminal court right now. Everybody helps everybody. You know, we tend to not always be the only reporter on the case. It started here in arraignment and it went over here for prelim, and now it's come to us. I'm in a long cause court now, which tends to do more of it, but we still, you know, when I'm preparing an appeal, so-and-so has these dates and so-and-so has those dates. And it's really nice. We're just a big team. It's a big building and it looks scary from the outside, but inside we're just a happy family.
I love that because I'm still doing depots, and it's very, very lonely to say the least. Jack does court. But he does, you know, the civil litigation and all that, but it's kind of a team over there too, right, Jack?
Yeah, for sure. The more you do it too, and especially like the Facebook thing really, and normally I'm like kind of stay off Facebook, but with court reporting and all of us taking roll call and everyone figuring out which department we're in and if we can help each other or take stuff last second, it is totally a community once you get into the groove of it. But I do often wonder, because if I were to be an official or work in court, and I think down the line, I feel like it's in me where I'm going to want to do that, but I would want to be in criminal so bad. Do you have to like work your way up? Is it just random? You apply and you get assigned there? Like, how does that work, do you think?
Well, you know what? When you come in and you apply and you're hired, they send you out to sit a week. You spend, I think it's 5 or 6 weeks, however many areas we have, and you sit a week with a reporter in every section. Now, we no longer cover civil ourselves. That stopped in about 2012. And so that's contract people like you that would come in and do that. But we have family law, we have dependency court, we have juvenile court. There's other courts that, you know, I'm not even sure of. So you do sit out a week with everyone, and then you float in a region. You can ask to say, I'd really like to do criminal court, and they will move you that direction as much as they can. And then when there comes tryouts with a judge picks their court reporter. You see they're in criminal court, you get on the list. Of course, you don't have much seniority, but you still get on the list, and eventually, you know, you get tried out. So yes, it's they do listen to you, especially now. We have a really great system.
So there is seniority in court.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dang it. I'll probably be at the bottom of the barrel if I did this now.
But
I should have done it 10 years ago. I would have been at the top already.
Desiree, I went when I was 41. And
really?
Yeah, I went at 41 and I'm 67 now. I'm in my 27th year at court. And I find, hey, I'm going to Minneapolis's NCRA convention because I can finally get that vacation time to go.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh,
I
good
used to
for
just
you.
do the CCRA ones, the local.
Yeah. That's always the fun one
Yeah.
too. So I'm looking forward to see you. I'll be in NCRA too. So what kind of, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of cases do you hear? I know you kind of touched upon this, but right now, primarily what kind of cases, you know, you can even kind of go into depth without obviously revealing too much.
I think most of what we have on our calendar right now are murder cases of some sort. We do have a large criminal embezzlement case that's on our calendar right now. And other than, mostly that. We do hear some rape cases, some molestation cases, and theft.
Christine, do you have a brief for embezzlement? While you're talking, my fingers are automatically moving, and I'm like, she must type embezzlement so much. Do you brief that?
Yeah,
please?
It's just BEMT.
Ooh, easy.
BEMT. That's so easy too.
Yeah.
I was over here thinking that's gonna make my fingers go like this.
I know.
And then you can get off the T and hit the D for embezzled, and embezzle is just BEM.
Oh,
There's nothing that's
I like
BEM.
that.
So
yeah,
that is
good.
true. You know, I love when reporters make up briefs and they all kind of just are in line with each other. Like, just do this with one more finger, you know?
Yeah.
So I wanted to get into the next area. A lot of people don't know this, but Christine actually covered the trial for Gabriel Fernandez. For those of you that don't know, Gabriel Fernandez was a little boy who was killed by his mother and her boyfriend on on May 24th, 2013. And that's actually how I met Christine. Somebody was like, oh, do you know Christine covered the Gabriel Fernandez trial? And I was like, oh my God. At that time, it was so big. I think it was in 2018 I met you. And I think it was just around the time they had gotten convicted. So I know we can't go into details, and that's fine. But I do want to get kind of your feelings and your opinions, not your opinion, I'm sorry, your feelings around covering that trial and how it was for you. So the first question I wanted to ask you is, what were your feelings when you first found out that you would be covering that trial?
Well, Desiree, that was my very first death penalty case. And California hasn't done death penalty for a while for various reasons, but I had never done a death penalty case before. And in a death penalty case, everything is on the record and everything is paginated from page 1. The arraignment starts at page 1, the prelim starts at page 1, and then when it hits the trial court, for the formal arraignment with the information and complaint, I forget which one it is. One comes before the other. In any event, it starts at page 1. And so everything has to be on the record, absolutely. And it must all be paginated so you keep a trial log on your desk in case someone else comes in, you get sick, they have the pages and that sort of thing. And then there were other, it has to be a daily and it was studying up first. It was, oh my gosh, death penalty case and a media case to go with it. So my first thing was, I haven't done this before. So I was studying that. And then I was a little nervous, like, oh my gosh, I heard about what it is. And because we had done the pretrial stuff, how is this trial going to be and what have you. And we were a couple of years leading up to the trial. It came to us in about 2014, and the trial didn't go off until September of 2017. It went through the 3 months at the end of the year, September through December of 2017. And I was thinking a lot about, people would ask me, yeah, you have that trial. I have a good friend at court. She's since retired. She's done a lot of that kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, she did the McMartin trial way, way back.
Wow.
Yeah. And she was I remember she was currently doing a trial that was something to do with a gentleman and his girlfriend's daughter. And I knew sort of what the trial was about, but she said, I can't talk about this. And that's kind of where I started to think about it. And I thought, I think I'm going to do better to have her form of doing this. So it's like we learn from others. We look to others who have done something before us. And I decided I didn't want to talk about it with people. It would be inappropriate while the trial was going. This way I didn't have to worry about saying anything, but I did come home and tell my husband, look, we have this trial and I'm going to come home and don't ask me any questions about it. I don't want to talk about it. And he said, I think that's really fair because I don't want to talk about it with you. And to this day, we really haven't talked about it. They've had Gabriel Fernandez on Netflix, and I told him, hey, you can watch it if you want. Don't talk to me about it and don't watch it while I'm home. And he was thinking about watching it, and then he actually ended up not doing so. But yeah.
Wow, that's actually a really good approach when you think about it, because in today's society, you're told, talk about it, or talk about your feelings. But some people are really good about just, hey, this is a job. Let's let it be that.
But those aren't my feelings. That's not my situation. What occurred
I love that.
is not my situation. I always see myself, I firmly believe in our trial process is really the best thing you can get anywhere in the world. Has, like my judge always tells the jury, it has its flaws, but he believes it's the best in the world, and I agree with him. So I see what I do. It's, we have an adversarial system. The DA does, or the prosecution does their part, and the defense does their part. The jury does theirs. The court does his, and mine is to keep the records so that anyone looking at this will know what happened, and as well as for being there for the prosecution in that sense. I feel I'm there for the defendant, because everyone deserves a fair trial. And whether they're guilty or not, I need to do my very best for them. So I developed that outlook on it because that's the one I've always had.
I love that. I think that's really inspiring and important, I think, for all of us to hear. I try to approach the career in that same kind of light where, people always ask, well, how do you control, like, you must hear the craziest things. And yeah, if we sit there and try to internalize it, but then we're attaching ourselves to something that's actually not us. And you're right, it's not our story. We're there to do a job. We're there to take down a record and report what happened. And it's very factual. Right. And so yeah, when I'm in that mode too, and I'm on the record, I go to a different place where it's like, well, I might have a weird face because I'm focused, but I'm not emotionally attaching to myself to what's happening. And a lot of times I zone out what's actually physically going on. I'm just taking down these words that, in my mind, sometimes I don't really add the context behind it. I'm just taking down the record. And I remember sometimes I'll be like editing or seeing, and I'm like, whoa, they said that. Like, I don't even remember. Like, okay.
Yeah.
You kind of have to do that. You kind of have to protect yourself.
You think about your writing, like your
Mm-hmm.
briefs. What am I hearing a lot?
Yep.
Fernandez, Fernz, Gabriel Fernandez, Gernz, Pearl Fernandez, Pernz.
Nice.
That's a good way to look at it.
I was doing those things, and my judge takes real time, so I really wanted my real time to be good. So I use, you focus in on the phonetics rather than the words.
Totally. Oh yeah, I like that. And Christine, also I say this because you see a different side of the world, right?
Yeah.
Jack and I do people fighting over money.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a witness, I was on an arbitration, and the witness was crying, she was terminated, and they asked her, how has this termination affected you? And she started crying. And I was constantly interrupting. And I had told the arbitrator, I'm like, on a break, I was like, I'm so sorry for interrupting. Like, I know it's annoying. He's like, no. He's like, I will never sympathize people crying over money. He's like, I used to do criminal law. And he's like, I had to defend. I'll never forget her. He's like, she was raped from the front and the back, and she ran and she was bleeding. And he's like, and she ran and she found these individuals and they helped her. He's like, she got on the stand and she was crying the entire time, and I couldn't get her to stop crying. And she's like, Judge, this has affected me so much. He's like, those are stories. Those are real life stories. That's another side of the world nobody sees. He's like, and then we have people here just crying over things like this. He's like, so that's why I was saying, you see all of that. How are you able to compose yourself and not think of it? Well, kind of, how you said you come home, you don't talk about it, but sometimes you probably, just thinking about it, it's hard too as well, right?
Yeah, well, like you said, it affected you, and yeah, it affects me. They're people, but as when you were saying you interrupted her all the time, I'll just say, as far as interruptions, reporters who are afraid to interrupt, please interrupt. You can do it so easily and so quietly just by raising your hand, say, excuse me. And I love having real time. Excuse me, and sometimes it's counsel, sometimes it can be the witness. And I might read what I last have on my screen, if you could please take it from here, thank you.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I love that you raise your hand.
And yeah, because once your hands go up, everybody's looking at you anyway. And when it's counsel, it can be closing argument at the end of a day at a trial, and it's been a long day, and they're impassioned. They've lived this differently than we have. And I'll raise it up. Counsel, wait, I'm so sorry. It's just been a long day, blah, blah, blah. Take it from here. And they're like, oh, no problem. Nobody will ever say, oh, do you remember that court reporter who interrupted all the time? You know what they will say? Look at this lousy transcript.
Oh my God. Yes,
over
Christine,
and over.
Say it louder. We just talked about this.
They will never forget your crappy transcript. They will forget that you interrupt. They will always remember the good job that you did.
That is so, I love that. They will always remember a lousy transcript.
Yep. Yeah. Des, you just said that in our last episode. Remember?
I did. I know. And one thing I always try and tell students is money will always be there, but your reputation won't.
Exactly.
So I always say that. The minute there's a bad transcript, they're going to remember that reporter all of the time.
Oh, and I'll just throw in something really silly, because I have cards that are peel and stick. Not an ad for them. I happen to get them from Pendigad, but you could probably get peel and stick cards from anywhere. And they're cheap, especially if you're in court. You don't use as many as out there. But when I worked in depots, it was the owner of the depot firm I worked for who said, order these. These are the ones we're going to use. We're going to stay unified and use these cards. And now when I hand them out in court, I tell people, hey, buy their peel and stick, just open your file folder and stick them on the inside. Mine has a Steno machine on the inside, so you're not going to confuse me with an attorney. And everyone thinks I'm just so marvelous and so clever for this little thing. So I put it out there, get the peel and stick cards. I think you get 500 for 50, 75 bucks or something. And it's the first one that's a little more, because they make your proof. But yeah, they're good.
I love that. I love that you said that you put the Steno machine, because that's true. Everyone's getting cards, everyone's passing out cards, and everyone kind of forgets. But as long as there's a Steno machine, they'll remember you were the reporter.
And I don't really want to put a court logo on there, because it's not really mine to do. When I'm doing transcripts, those are when I've got my 1099 income. The notes belong to the court. That's my W-2 income. And I don't want to use the court logo on there. And they're not court supplied cards. So I thought the Steno machine was good.
Very nice. Christine, going back, I wanted to ask this in the beginning, and then I was like, let me revisit. Before you did court, did you do anything else? Did you try
Oh,
depositions
I did.
or?
I did depositions
Yeah.
for 13, 14 years. That's what I
Okay.
first did.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, it
That's
was
right.
so fun. And I worked at a great firm. We were, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 people or something at the most. Computers came in, and the person who owned our agency, he was a court reporter as well. And he was just getting to the point where he didn't go out and take jobs all the time. He'd have to go every once in a while and take jobs. And no one wanted to see him coming because he didn't report all the time. So he wasn't as good as the rest of us. It was fun. But computers were coming in. We had Xscribe, and we had the big box, and it was CPM. They didn't even have DOS then. It was CPM. And we had the Steno 2 they came out with, was the new computer writer. And it actually had a paper tray to have backup paper notes. That was your backup. It didn't have
Wow.
room inside for all a backup disk. And he was awesome. He said, hey, I will finance this for you guys, and you can pay it to me over 2 years, and I won't charge any interest. And that was great. So that's how I got my writer. And
Wow.
my first CPM, the big Xscribe black box that wasn't even DOS based and used big 5.5 floppies, that was $10,000. And it didn't even translate. He did all the translatings we brought in, and he did our translation and gave us back our discs. But it was really fun working with that because he brought in Marty Block from back east, who really got into real-time writing to teach us about cleaner notes and how to write real time as real time was starting to come in. And so I did a lot of great big business litigation jobs out here. It was really fun working in the 80s into the early 90s. It was a different time, and you'd come and set up, and sometimes you'd go to a doctor's home and be doing a depo there for 2 days.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
so I did a lot of that, and I really liked it. Had a lot of fun. Got to dress up. Loved going to Century City. Back then, nobody wore earrings and stuff, and the guys would have a little ponytail and they'd have an earring in, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I'd wear my little ankle boots and my black lace stockings because that's what you wore there. So it was fun. I enjoyed depos a lot. There was a lot of freedom to do things and to work stuff around. But I always knew I wanted to go to court. And so finally I started thinking, well, there was a notice that came out from LA Superior Court. They're going to unify. They were going to have 50 positions open in municipal court because 50 municipal recorders had gone up to Superior Court. And we were all going to unify and be Superior and municipal together. So I was one of 200 people who tried out for 50 spots. And figured, let's
amazing.
go. Yeah. And still come now. We need you because all those people who tried out then and all those, we're retiring often. The court just constantly needs you, and they're taking voice writers now because they constantly need. We have voice writers in court now too. But it's a great place to work. Yes, I love depos. I love doing them. They were fun.
See, I wish I had that outlook because I hate depots. And I honestly, it's what I needed. Court was what I needed to refuel my fire with this career because I think it was the type of stuff I was doing. I was doing, all day experts and, all the crazy stuff. And yeah, there was something about sitting there all day, them being like, can we push through lunch? And I'd be like, I would love 15 minutes to have a snack, like something. It was just
you
like,
were nice.
I was
Jack,
too
you were
nice.
Reporters, some reporters are like, no.
I wanted to be like an attractive candidate. I wanted to be requested. But I just was like, how is this fun? What? Like, I hated how unhinged, for lack of a better term, depos were in my world. Like, I craved that energy in the courtroom that was going to be like, okay, please stop, one person at a time. And, some judges, whatever, but most of them are on your side and they're helping you and they are there to smooth out the proceedings. And I love that about court.
You know what? I do too, but I'll tell you, when I did depos, I loved the attorneys I worked with. And civil attorneys, they're dollar signs, they're dollar motivated because they have to be. Their clients are paying them big bucks. They're in litigation over big bucks. So there's a lot of dollar motivation there, but humor goes a long way. And my favorite thing to say was, we can work through lunch as long as you go to the cafe that gives you the IV pouch. Bring mine back in the IV. And
I love that.
Literally, yeah. And they went, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. I said, I have no hands.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good
Yeah, I
one.
have
I
no
like
hands.
that.
And I wouldn't just take 15 minutes. I'm not going to wolf down I wouldn't even give them a time. And they would say, how about if we take a half an hour when the food comes? I'll say, yeah, I could work with that.
That's a good, I think that's right. The humor does
Yeah,
go a
it
long way.
does. It really does. And just, kind of lighten up. Don't ever look at anybody and think, what the, you know, just say,
Mhm.
oh, sure, I can do it this way or what have you. But
Were
yeah.
you always like that, Christine, or did it take you like a few years to get you on your feet? Because I'll always advocate and say, you have to speak up, you have to, but I still to this day, and I'm only in my 5th year reporting, but I still
Uh,
have trouble with it. I
it's a,
still am sitting there like, well,
uh-huh.
oh, you can get through this, like maybe it'll smooth out right after this and
Oh my
just
God,
get through
me
this
too.
one part. Like
Yeah.
I still have that voice
Yeah.
that's like, don't be a burden, don't whatever. So how do you find that confidence? Like, I don't know, it's such a dumb question,
Well, you're
but
in your 5th year, so you're about to get there. For 5 years, I had
yeah.
to read back from paper, and I would turn bright red as I was reading back. And I think, oh my God, I can't believe this. Finally, everybody's looking at me and I'm bright red. But I would just, take a breath. The one thing my agency owner, because he was so great with us, he'd say, they want you to read back. How long does it take you to go over to your steno machine, to get your notes, to unfold your paper, to scroll back and find where you are? Does this take 1 minute? It doesn't take more than 1 minute. You're
Hmm.
there and the seconds are going by. This isn't instantaneous. So I would pick up my paper. They can see you're doing something. You see you're coherent. You're not on your cell phone now, but we didn't have them then. And it takes the time it takes. And then I would read it back, and I would read it slowly because my eyes had to go to my next note to be able to read it. If I read too fast, I would stumble. Just like if you're reading back from English now to a jury, I read back at the rate I can read back accurately. So you have to just remember, it takes the time it takes. Someone asked me once, gee, do you have super hearing? I said, no, I was born with the same ears you have.
I love
Oh,
that.
yeah. You don't look at it as a dumb question. So yeah, just start to feel confident about yourself. And nobody works 8 hours a day without making a mistake, without having some kind of glitch, without, something. We're just as human as and don't worry if you say the case number wrong. I'm going to write the case number correctly. Yeah, it's a verbatim record, but, first off, you're not under oath. And the case number is what the case number is. And the
Love
attorneys are
that.
like, oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just have you get the confidence in yourself when you learn how to say it takes the time it takes.
And I think
Love
that
that.
with that confidence, attorneys and even judges trust you more. They put
They
their trust more
do.
in
They
you.
do. They quit worrying about it. I had to fill
That's
in one
true.
time for a reporter from our firm who developed panic attacks, which was the oddest thing to me because she was an awesome reporter and she was out for her client. She had a panic attack. She had to go. And they sent me over here. You got to go do this. I'm like, okay. So I go in and I sit down and they're going around. They ask the first long question. And then someone says, oh, can you read that back? And I thought, oh, here it goes. I'm the test. Am I as good as who left? And I read it back and you could just see the whole table relax. So they do. They are taking cues
Mm.
from you. And just,
Mm-hmm.
you know how to do your job. So do it. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Christine, also, what I wanted to ask you, you kind of started at a different time too than
Mhm.
Jack and I, for sure. We started, even though we did Microsoft Word, I still did this. I still finished school with software. And even now reading back, I have my computer, I
Yeah.
look at it, it's all there. You had to read back from the paper. How are you able to move with the times? Because I know that there's still reporters out there that use paper and they don't use
Yeah.
software and they're still doing that. So how are you able to move with the times and still, you know, get comfortable
Because
with everything?
41 years later, I'm still doing this job. And if you want to, and you guys won't believe it, but it's going to race even faster for you because now that the technology is here, you have to stay up on it. I'm not real good. I copy my things out on a USB drive to take home to work on my transcripts. Sometimes when I've got some things to do or I'm just tired, I just bring my whole notebook home with me and carry it. I work with a lot of younger reporters who use what is it called, Dropbox, and
Yeah.
things like that. I tried to learn the Dropbox once, and I just thought, whatever, fine, forget it. And there are things like I don't even do automatic indexing. I do my own, but I'm so fast at doing my indexing because I've done it for a long time. I finally thought, well, am I ever going to learn this automatic indexing? And I thought, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to report another 5 years. It's not worth it to me. There's other things I would rather do. you pick and choose. Right now, my neighbor next door, she's 23, and she's awesome. She came to me quite a bit in the beginning for all things court reporter related, and she still comes to me for all things court reporter related, because we have buddy courts at work. You're in the criminal courts building, who's ever your next door neighbor, that's your buddy court. You help each other out.
Oh,
If you need something or forget something, or gee, I'm running late, are you in calendar, can you go cover mine real quick, or something like that. And so, but I go over to ask her, I say, hey, my Outlook, my LA County Outlook, it's just got this weird thing. Something happened on the screen. I touched something. I don't know what I did. She comes over, she sits down, boop, boop, and fixes it. So you keep up the best you can, because if you want to do the job to the best of your ability, you do. I mean, I write real time. When I was in depots, I was plugging in all the attorneys that we had, and you just, if you want to be out there, just look at it. You're not going to maybe do it like somebody else, but it's the same thing like getting through school and learning court reporting. I don't have to be as good as you guys on tech. I can do the tech,
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, are there actually still reporters that use steno paper?
Yes.
I worked with a couple, but they've since retired. My oldest daughter, she's a captioner, and she sent me something from one of the Facebook groups. Somebody was looking for steno paper. They don't even make it anymore. She says, is this even still a thing? And I said, not that I know. I don't know anybody. And you have to be willing to write real time if you're going to come to work for the court. So the court wants to stay on technology, and we are finally filing everything online. It took some,
oh my gosh, finally.
There were internal and external reasons for that. So so we're all filing online now, and we're learning together. So it's really awesome. But you have to be willing to do real time, and they will give you 3 months to get up to speed doing real time for yourself before they ask you to plug in. So they know that, because they're listening a lot to the working reporters. We have an association that deals a lot with management, and management's being just tremendous. This management in the last, I don't know, since COVID or something like that, has just been awesome with us. And they listen to what we have to say, because nobody knows what we're doing except for us.
Right.
For someone that would want to go into court, do you think it's a good idea to start in depositions, or to start elsewhere, build your dictionary up, scope your own work for a little bit? I remember for a while I would see the courts would say, hey, we want a year of experience before you apply. I feel like it's getting a little more lenient because they need people so badly. But how do you feel about that? Do you think it pays to?
It's up to you. I work with people who came to court straight out of school. Most of the people I work with came out of depositions, but that's because you needed to work a couple of years before you came to court. You can come straight out of school. The court needs you so much that if you can pass, and we're going to hook you up. We've got our Reporters Association. We have mentors. We just started an internship program for court reporters, and that's coming from the feedback. I'm not at that table anymore. I let other people do it because I'm closer to retirement. But I'm sure that's come from us saying we need to do this. We need to bring in more of this. And I have students sit in with me all the time. Yeah, it's up to you how you feel. If court feels a little intimidating, sure, go do some workers' comp and some personal injury and just get your feet wet first. But what you do end up doing is you start making money, and you start making, now you're getting a better car because you're having to drive. You're getting a few different clothing because you're, having to go out. You can't wear just shorts and tank tops anymore to school, and flip flops, which is what I did. And, so you're building a life. You have to keep that in mind, and seriously make the jump. Don't be afraid to make the jump, because we're here to hold your hand.
Love that. Are you excited to retire, or how do you feel about it? Are you like, I'm going to miss this?
I'm not quite ready to retire yet, but I'm looking forward to it. It's life. It's life in my all stages of life has something special and something to look forward to. I used to wonder when I was 20 how I was going to feel about my life ending, about dying. Well, don't worry about it, because as you get older, you start to get comfortable with that. You start to put it together in your head. We've all gone for our careers. We've all gotten married. We've all had babies. We've all had, school events, graduations, grandkids, and, and we're going to funerals, and, so life has all sorts of special things. I'm really looking forward, because I got a list of things I don't have time to do right now. I just don't. And I'll have time later. Yeah. It's all good.
Do you think that a lot of reporters retire from court and then they'll do depots here and there because, they collect
Yeah.
their benefits and then they'll get some, extra cash on the side? Do you think you'll do that? Do some little small dep? No, you're.
No, first off,
We love that.
I am
Me too.
67 right now. I'm planning at retiring at 30 years, which would put me right when I'm 71. And I'm thinking now, I don't know, maybe if I go to 72 or 73, seriously. And I know someone's told me, oh, there's somebody out there 75 years old doing depots. And I thought, not me. I'm going to learn how to play the piano.
Oh, I know her.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I love
Yes.
that.
Good for her. Then that's
Yeah.
good. That's good that she can
Yeah.
do that. But no, I'm done. I'm going to hang it up. Yeah,
She's not me.
Yeah, I'm watching what my retirement is, and I'm looking to get those things in order now. And yeah. So, but for me, my personal thing is no. I'm gonna be done. The only thing I'm going to do that's court reporting related is I'll prepare my own transcripts when I have requests for those. I'll do those.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because
cool.
you guys don't. Everything's on a write up, right? You don't have to transcribe everything, so sometimes you'll get.
Yeah, with the appeals,
request.
I'm in a long cause court, so I do most of my stuff as dailies, and then they all appeal, and so a lot of my stuff is done. But I get still requests for things that haven't been done yet. So yeah, I will do my own stuff and retain my CSR license, but I do not plan to report. But talk to me in 3, 4, 5 years. We'll see.
Christine, I just got my first appeal this past week.
Her.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but yay. So I'm asking all my friends, can you send me an example? Can you send me this? So that's my goal for this week is to go. Luckily, it's an easy thing. It was a super easy hearing. It's already transcribed. It's finished. The other side had ordered it. So it's all done. It's going to be the formatting and figuring everything out. But it's exciting because I like little learning curves like that. So yeah.
Yeah, well, there it is. See, that's what you always do. Is if it wasn't the technology, it's the processing. We're always learning something. You have to stay abreast the best you can.
That's
exactly.
Good advice. Yeah.
Speaking, going back to the technology advancing and all of that, Des and I, every time we have a TikTok go viral, and we've had TikToks that have gotten millions of views and stuff, and when that happens, you get this mass pour of all these people asking these questions, and I would say 85% of the comments are always, looks like a job that AI will take over any day. Why hasn't AI taken this yet? So can you set the record straight for our viewers and give us your take on when people say, can't AI take your job? Why hasn't AI taken your job? What do you say to people?
Well, first, it's AI can do things like math and stuff. Math is a static, math is a formula, and things in science are formulas and what have you. Language is dynamic. It's moving and changing all the time. It's like my bad, no, or something is the different phrases they use, what's good and what's bad, or that people mispronounce things, or there are things like, for instance, a good way to say it is my judge when he's preparing his motions and things, he uses the Dragon software, the voice software in Chambers, and he puts on his headset and he has Dragon in front of him. Then he has his hands free for all of his research and everything, and he speaks his ruling into Dragon, and Dragon does the voiceover and prints it. Well, he's simply one guy, quiet, looking straight forward. Things don't happen like that. Witnesses stutter and go through, and the Dragon's gotten used to his voice. I've had one time where Dragon, I can't remember if I think they did the word omission, and the word was commission. So I usually get the printout that my judge does. I say, hey, give me your printout. So he gives me his printout. I went back in and I said, look, this says omission and you said commission, and I know it's commission. And he says, yeah, it is. I said, so I'll check stuff with him. So it's mostly because language is dynamic. It's all over the place, and accents, and people go back and forth. Some people are really loud. Some people repeat themselves and go back. It's not formulaic. It really does need that human touch. And then punctuation means everything. You see that joke about let's eat, grandma, like let's go have dinner. Let's eat, grandma.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are different. That's a real simplistic view of saying it. But there are really things that happen, and particularly when things happen with punctuation. I write myself a note afterwards. That's it. When it can go one of two ways, and I write in all my punctuation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it's so funny that you made that the example with the grandma, because I always tell students you have to also know the difference. Like sometimes witnesses will say I don't know, or sometimes they'll say I don't know, and it's I don't, comma, and right? There's completely different meanings. So you have to know, and AI is not. And I love that you use the formula. I think Jack and I are going to say that now when we get those kind of questions, because that was a perfect example.
It is.
I like saying that.
Yeah.
My one I always say is no period shots were fired, or no shots were fired. Those are
Yeah.
two
Good.
There it
completely,
is. Yeah.
so.
That one's really good, actually.
Mhm.
So,
Or what if it's a dash? Do you dash? No shots were fired. Do you know shots were fired? Now we have a
Right.
different no, and it
oh,
may not pick up on the dash. There's just so much going that's live, and I'm helping someone do her afternoon sessions right now of a daily transcript trial down the hall, and we go from having a really nice witness on direct, and all of a sudden we get on cross. He's herky jerky and repeating himself and stuttering and going back and forth. That's tougher for an AI to do.
yeah, especially witnesses or anybody that stutters.
Mm-hmm.
That one's so difficult for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that advice. Thank you for telling us
Yeah.
that, because now I'm like,
Yeah.
every time they tell us that, we say the same thing, but I want more more
Yeah.
things to say.
Yeah.
So that one was perfect. And you've grown with the times,
Mhm.
so it's perfect.
Yeah.
So
Shh. There's my dog.
going
in the
back
background.
really
I hope you hear
quickly.
him. Yeah.
I know
Oh,
he's cute. What kind of dog do you have?
He's
We'll
a
have to see
Papillon.
after. Oh, how cute!
Yeah.
So
So we'll have to
cute.
see dogs
Yeah.
after. So going back really quickly to kind of the Gabriel Fernandez case, when you were, I always tell people too, when you're listening, it could be completely different than when you're editing, right? Because there's times where I'm
Yeah.
like reading something and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't remember even that being said, or I
Yeah.
don't remember that being in that context. And then you listen or you're reading it
Yeah.
and it's different. How are you able to? There were some things that you probably saw and that you were probably like, wow. Was it hard for you to edit the transcripts, or what was your
Yeah.
mindset when you were editing them?
Yeah, because you're reliving it in slow motion almost when you're editing it. So I just come home and change my clothes and sit down and move along with it and try to focus on the punctuation and the paragraphing. Is this clear what happened? Am I giving the best thing on the paper? Because I don't know how, if there's punctuation or paragraphing rules really in court reporting. What you want to do is produce the best product to show the best what happened. And so I would
Right.
focus on, and is this clear? Is that clear? And just keep moving on and going to it. Before you know it, you're done with the day, and it's like, phew, I'm glad that's over. And during the day, like when I'm hearing it, I focus on like I was saying, my real-time writing and being calm and breathing, because I write meter that way. And also when things are going on, because we hear a lot of, it's criminal trial, we get a lot of exhibits. I don't look at the exhibits. They used to go up on an overhead screen. Now we have, the computer hookup and stuff in the court for them to be on the screens.
Oh, good.
And I don't look at the exhibits. I don't want to see that thing. I don't want to see somebody's body slab on the corners. One of the things that is the best, I think, when you're doing coroner's testimonies is they do their autopsies on body diagrams. So it's like the outline of the body and they write all over that. And that's really great. I can sit and look at that while I'm listening to them talk, and it helps me to write better, but I'm not looking at the actual evidence. Every once in a while I see some evidence, and like I'll go back to Gabriel Fernandez. There were Polaroid pictures that the teacher took. He was in first grade. Polaroid pictures that the teacher took at school for Mother's Day. She was it was in the testimony that she told Gabriel, it's okay. You don't have to have your picture taken today, because he didn't look. And I remember I looked up and I saw that picture, and I see that picture when I think of him. And no, he just really wanted to make a Mother's Day card for his mom with that photo. So sometimes there are things that cause you to look. And I remember that we had the murder of a 2-year-old girl, and so the clerk takes care of all the exhibits. I don't have to look at the exhibits. The clerk takes, or the judicial assistant takes care of all that in court. And she happened to have an 8x10 of the little girl's face. And it happened to be there's the gate where you go through where the clerk's desk is and you can go back to your office. I happened to see that photograph, and I still remember her. But, I put them into perspective with, like I say, I do the trials. I focus on, I did the best I could for this kid. I gave a good transcript. The verdict outcomes were different on those two, but the verdict. I'm not responsible for the verdict. I'm responsible for what occurred in the court, showing that. So yeah. And
Was it the mom or the boyfriend that got the death penalty on that?
The boyfriend got the death penalty on that. The mother pled actually after the trial was over. She didn't plead until the beginning of 2018. Sometimes they do that if you're going to testify in the trial or not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was
so
wondering
she
about
she
that.
didn't
Okay.
get sentenced. She pled beforehand, but then she wasn't sentenced until after the trial because she had to go through and hold up the DA makes sure they hold up their part of the bargain by testifying truthfully.
Wow. Okay.
And
So,
yeah,
wow.
and but she did have she didn't get the death penalty, but the DA, it was a different plea than I've ever taken. There's pretty much standard, the pleas are standard. This had other information. She waived other things that people don't waive. But
Wow. So
but
this
that
case
was, yeah,
altogether was just different.
yeah, it was very much. Maybe if I put
Like,
him on my lap.
I want to be on the
Yeah.
I
podcast.
know. It's
He
like,
just wants
no
my
more sad
attention.
stuff.
Okay. Here he
Oh,
is.
He's
Say hi,
Gabriel.
Bob. There we are on for
huge. Oh,
TV.
So
little ponytails.
cute.
That is
Yeah,
so
this is his ear.
adorable.
It's French for butterfly, and his ears are like a butterfly when he pops them in the back.
So
Yeah.
Oh my
that's what I miss
gosh.
about taking Zoom depos is when the dogs were in the background, the
Oh.
cats were walking around. I do love that. It makes me
Yeah.
like realize, okay, attorneys are human.
Yeah,
They are human.
They are.
So
They are. But
well,
yeah,
that was amazing.
yeah, and then afterwards you have to, with the death penalty, you have to prepare everything gets corrected, and the attorneys read through it. And there were a couple of places where I had to have a whole line of something, but the attorneys agreed on that because I sure didn't drop a whole line of something, that's for sure. And yeah,
Oh,
but
okay. So they
you
pick
do
apart
that
everything.
because they agreed on it, and the judge said, okay, everybody agrees on it, so that's the way it'll be. But I will say that even though what we had was district attorneys and public defenders and alternate public defenders, when I just put in a punch for the public defenders because people say, oh, you couldn't do any better than get a public defender. Public defender's office is a law firm. The alternate public defender's office is a law firm. They work like a law firm. That is no grade 1 attorney. That's a grade 5 attorney that's trying a death penalty. If something happened to me, heaven forbid, and I ever needed a criminal attorney, I would want to divest myself of everything and get a public defender because they're really good people. Yeah.
Wow.
That's good to know too, because we see a lot on, TV and stuff like that. People hire outside counsel, or they're like, oh, they got the best attorney in town. And they're, public defenders kind of get, where they're not that great, they get this reputation of that. So it's nice that you kind of cleared that up for everybody.
Yeah, they just don't assign anybody to everything. Yeah, you have to work. There are grades 1 through 5, and so that's. I mean, you might be doing a shoplifting thing, or evading a police officer and driving or something, reckless driving, something like that. To start with, you're certainly not doing a case of the caliber of a death penalty case.
So it's the severity of the case is what kind of how they get assigned. Oh, got it. That's good to know that, because everyone thinks that they just kind of randomly pick out of a hat. This is who your public defender is.
And they're trained. So yeah.
Okay.
So it's fun. Good to know. Get to learn a lot about the system. I have a lot of respect for the system because of the work I've done in criminal court, and I see the way the players perform.
I gotta say, Christine, you have such a soft heart, because you kind of even said this, the parents of Gabriel Fernandez, you were saying, even though what they did was really, sad, you still said they still deserve a fair trial. It's kind of a reflection of you and your heart. Even though you hear all of these things and it's really, really hard on you, you still have such a soft side to you. And I really do admire that.
It's even more than that, Desiree and Jack. It's that, if we have freedom and we're all equal here, then we're all equal. And I would certainly want the protections of the Constitution and the law if I were in their shoes. We have different life paths. We all start out from different places, what have you. I heard actually something more to do with politics, but I think it expresses my feeling about Superior Court also as well. Working in court is that, freedom either means something or it doesn't. If it's not for everybody and it's just something I have, that's not freedom, that's privilege. And I'm not about
exactly.
Privilege. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a good point. Very
Wow.
good
Well,
point.
this was so informative and so amazing hearing your perspective. I feel so inspired. I'm like, I want to go on the website now and be like, are there any positions open?
There
I
are.
Like,
do
I'm,
There
too.
are. Go
I
on the
hate it's
website and apply. Come in,
crazy.
Jack, and say I recommended you, and go look at. We're giving hiring bonuses. Students, you got student loans to pay off. They will help you pay your student loans. Just if nothing else, go online and look at what's there. Even if you're in school,
I'm
or
so
even if you think
tempted.
about it, even if you don't do it, go look what's there so you'll know.
Zach, you're
think I
gonna do it. I
might.
feel. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. Some of the nicest reporters I've met online are officials. Like they're
Yeah.
the sweetest ladies
Mhm.
ever. Oh,
So
now
are
I'm
depot
tempted.
reporters. Come on now.
Oh no,
You
I love
just
my depot reporters.
yeah, but
No, I
you're
was just
Yep.
saying, like,
yeah,
I love my depot report. I'm
yeah,
sorry, I didn't mean to sound like, oh my God, you guys are all rude. I'm a depot
yeah,
reporter, so
yeah,
I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? So no, I have my girls, but I'm just
yeah.
saying, like, it's some of the nicest You guys are
You
all
know,
so sweet.
there's a trait that we all share, Desiree. We either all shine or none of us shines. Because if another reporter looks bad, that reflects on me. So I do whatever I can to help anybody. That's a reporter.
Do you
Period.
ever have
Yeah.
to have a glass of wine though at night, Christine?
I have, but I have, but that's just to watch TV and watch it, or I'll come home watch one of my HGTV things. Watch just something with a glass of wine just to tune out and go somewhere else, and then
Love that.
go to bed. But I try not to pound a bottle of wine. So
Right,
I
that's
do
right,
want
a
to
right.
good
ask,
habit.
what are your favorite shows? Because obviously you're
Oh,
not watching Law and Order. You're not watching, unless you
no,
are,
they're
but
hard. No, they're hard to watch. But I am enjoying. We're binging right now. The Madam Secretary. It's gone on a lot. That's a
Oh
really
yeah.
good show. They do really good stuff
amazing.
there. I'm really enjoying that. But on HGTV, I really like. I like the people that are in Arkansas and the people that are in Mississippi. So that's the hometown and the
Mm.
what is it? Arkansas. Who are they? They're in Benton, Arkansas. What's the name of
Okay,
their
we'll
show?
have to watch that.
Yeah. So I like those. I watch the brothers, and
Hmm.
Oh, my
uh,
fave.
I used to watch the Flipper Flop, Tarek and Christina, and they went through all their drama. Now I haven't watched too much of the Tarek stuff, but they've got one on right now where she's dueling, his ex-wife's dueling with him and his current wife, and so I've tuned into that
Oh,
because
that's
yeah.
right.
But I don't do like the housewives things. Both my daughters love the housewives and stuff, but
I
Oh my
love the
God,
I don't
I
do
do
those.
Housewives.
Yeah, I don't
too.
do
I
those at
loved.
all. Yeah.
I
I
think
love
because
the
I
house.
listen to drama all day, but I want like drama where like they're fighting. Like, you know
Hmm.
what I mean? I just see
Oh,
like
I
you're
don't like
Yeah.
fighting
that at
over
all.
property, you're fighting over this. I
No.
want to see you guys fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
that's not
something
mine. Yeah.
there's something weirdly calming about like watching housewives like throw glasses of wine across
Wait,
the table, and
No,
I don't know why. I might need my head examined for that, but for some reason that
no,
puts me
but
in a calm place.
you don't need your head
same.
examined. There's so many people like you. My attitude is, why would you want to do that?
See, my attitude's like throw it, throw it. Just
Yeah,
kidding. I'm just kidding.
it's just not. But you know what?
We're all different.
Mhm.
Before we sign off, because it sounds like we're winding up. I just wanted to say, because you were asking me about that embezzlement before. Two
Oh
of
Yes.
yes.
my words that I absolutely just don't like are susceptible and applicable.
Ooh,
Oh my
this is a
gosh.
perfect transition, Christine, because on
Yeah,
every episode we
yeah.
do a brief of the week. So
Oh,
can you
here's your
give
brief.
us? You got two for
Susceptible,
us. Okay, let's do these.
What is it?
stibble,
What is it?
stibble,
Dibble.
STIBL.
Ooh.
And that's
Susceptibility. Throw a
easy.
T on it.
Yes.
Stibble.
That I'm gonna
And
write that down.
applicable. I
That's
can't
amazing.
stand that one because I'm a phonetic
Oh.
writer. Plibble.
Yep.
Mhm.
Libel and
Stibble
Christina,
and
it's
stibble.
so
plibble. I love
easy.
those. When I found those, I thought, oh, these are just so great. So I'm always, I'm
Plibble.
a real phonetic writer, but I love briefs and I love phrases, and I would never
Yes.
not use them. And anything I find that I'm writing in more than two strokes, I'm looking to see what the brief is or a way I can smoosh it down or something like that. So that's kind of the way I do my briefs and phrases or anything I have trouble writing. If I have trouble writing it, I'm going to find a brief for it. Yeah.
I actually like those because like on Brief It,
Yeah.
we were talking about this one episode, Brief It, on your software, it
Mhm.
comes up sometimes with the most stupidest briefs and you're like, I'm not
Yeah.
stroking that out. So you're just better writing it
I
out.
don't even
But
use
I
it.
love that yours is just so simple.
I got StenoCat software. Not as many people have StenoCat, and I don't like
Mhm.
theirs either. I just leave it turned off. So
No,
Yeah, it's
sometimes
like
it literally looks like
disrespectful.
they're giving you a brief that looks like the stroke for the court. I'm like, am I pressing every button for this brief?
yeah.
and
I
then,
don't know.
and
Like,
then they have the
Oh
nerve to
my
put in
God. You know
this
what?
asterisk.
I went when I first went to court, I did some freelancing substituting in Orange County Court, trying to get hired on there. I actually came to LA Court and got hired there. But when I first went in, they were like, "Oh, you know these people here in court. You're a heavy hitter. Just go do this." I didn't know anything about reporting in court. I'm going to do calendar. I didn't understand what calendar was, and all of a sudden I realized, oh gosh, they're talking about the next case. I write myself, "No, this is the next case. This is the next case."
Oh.
And I'd be sitting there, and all of a sudden they were quiet. I'm like, "Oh God, what do I do? They're going from case to case. I'm so upset. I could hit every key on the keyboard. Oh, why don't I do that?" So I hit every key on the keyboard, and it drops down 2, and it centers with asterisks and says next matter, and drops down 2 when I hit every key on the keyboard. So that was born through panic mode.
I like that though. I like, because sometimes we do need to do that now too.
And then
Jack,
I have a
do you have
macro
to do
on my
that?
computer that just goes to every asterisk. So if when I write matters, okay, calling the next matter, bang, I hit, my Q&A and all my vowels.
Wow.
You got it
down. That's cool. I think I do like noik or something for like new case. I don't know.
Whatever
something.
Whatever it is that works for the way you've corrupted theory. Because we all take theory and bend it and twist it to make it work for our head. We all think the way we think, and our fingers. I don't have particularly long fingers. I don't have short fingers, but I know a couple people have long fingers. I was like, "Oh, you're so lucky." But yeah,
I am lucky. I have long fingers.
Yeah,
I'm like,
there it is. See, you're lucky. Okay.
Well, thank you for the briefs, because we do that every episode, the brief of the week.
Every episode. And we also do a case of the week, but we did cover the case of the week already in this whole episode with Gabriel Fernandez, so that worked perfectly. So I think that leads us to the conclusion of episode 4. Christine, Taylor, everyone, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We had so much fun.
Yes.
Learning.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
It was a great episode, and I think that a lot of students are going to walk away, and even reporters walk away wanting to apply to court, but that you also gave so much knowledge, and Jack and I learned a lot too, so this was great. Thank you.
This is what's so good about it. The court is paying me. There's another I'll throw in. The court is paying me a retention bonus to stay, because I'm over 25 years and they want me to stay. They want us to stay and help bridge this transition for the other people coming in. So, and that's what I'm trying to do all the time. And even when I retire, no, I won't probably go take any Zoom depos, but I'll go to schools like Downey. I'll help CCRA. I'll help LACRA. I'll help NCRA. Yeah.
I love that. You're still going to be involved in different ways.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Paying it forward. Well, I really hope to meet you in person someday, because I had so much fun getting to know you and talking to you.
She's going to NCRA.
Put my name down when you apply for the job, because then you'll have a good reference. They'll know.
I love that.
We are. Now we know. Right. Thank you, Christine.
Super.
Thank you so much. So nice to meet you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Bye.